Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are currently doing revision course for UPSC CSAT 2024 and we have already covered all the topics for algebra. If you have not watched them, we have covered them in 3 videos. So first watch those 3 videos and then this will be the next topic, that is arithmetic. Today we are starting with arithmetic and our plan is to complete this topics or the subtopics under arithmetic in 3 to 4 videos. So this is the first video on arithmetic. We'll have 2 or 3 more and then we'll be done with the arithmetic as well. So let's start with the topic arithmetic, and today we are going to cover 2 topics, that is averages and speed, distance and time, right? So let's start with averages. So what exactly is an average? See, whenever say batsman has an average of 50 runs, what does this mean? This means normally if we consider all the runs he has scored and all the matches he has scored, normally he has on an average scored 50 runs in each match. But does that mean that he has scored 50 runs in every match? No. How will that batsman's scorecard look like? In first match he might have scored only 10 runs. In second match he might have scored 20 runs. In third match he might have scored 150 runs. Fourth match 130. Fifth match he might have also been out on 0. But something like this, his batting average is 50. This is what they say, that this batting average is 50 even though you will not see a 50 score on his scorecard. So what exactly average is? Average is, the formula is, please note it down, average is sum of all items, means in case of batsman, sum of all the scores the batsman has scored, sum of all the items divided by number of items. So in case of batsman, that number of items will be number of matches, right? So suppose I take an example, suppose Virat Kohli. So if Virat Kohli has played 5 matches till now in whatever tournament and his score looks something like this: 20 runs in the first match, 50 runs in second match, 80 runs in third match, 120 in the fourth match, and then finally what do we have? Suppose 30 runs in fifth match. So what is his batting average? How will you calculate? You will do the sum first. So the sum will be 150 plus 150, that is 300. So 300 is the total number of total score he has scored in all the matches, and number of item is how many items or how many matches he has played, that is 5. So 300 divided by 5 is 60. So this means on an average he is scoring 60 runs in all the matches, right? So now what do we have? This formula is important. Average is equal to sum of all the items divided by the number of items. So this part I want to make it clear. What does this exactly mean? So I hope you have written this averages formula. I will just remove this and tell you what exactly average means. Again, in parallel universe, Virat Kohli is a player in parallel universe. He has scored 60 runs. 60 runs in 5 matches. 60, 60, 60, 60, 60. So what is his total? His total is 300 divided by 5, that is 60 runs. So what does average means? See, it's not possible for Virat Kohli to score 60 runs in all the matches, right? But when we see the sum in this here on this side and on this side, the sum is equal. So that means I either take the sum of all the scores Virat Kohli has scored in 5 matches, or take the sum of average or whatever, calculate the average and just distribute it over 5 matches. You will find that in total he has only scored 300 runs. No matter how you calculate it in number 1 way or number 2 way, right? So what do we have here? If average is, how do we calculate average? Average is equal to sum of items, all the items divided by number of items, right? So to calculate sum of all items, the formula will be average of batsmen multiplied by the number of items, that is number of matches, number of items. So this is another way of calculating the sum from average. I hope it is clear. What does average exactly mean? Average is sum of all items divided by the number of items. Now the question here, we have an example. find the average of first 10 natural numbers. So to calculate the average, what do you need? You need sum of numbers divided by number of items. So we know the number of items are 10 because there are first 10 natural number. Sum, we have to calculate the sum. Means 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 till 10. How will you calculate this sum? If you have seen the last video, that is sum of the series, you know the formula for this is n plus 1 by 2. So 10 plus 1 by 2. So it is 55. So if this is 55, so the average will be 55 by 10, that is 5.5. That is the answer. I hope it is clear how to calculate the average. Now the basics are clear. We are going to move forward and let's calculate. Let's do some questions. The concepts will be more clear. In a class of 25 boys and 15 girls. So let's write boys here and the girls here. So number of boys or number of items is 25 and here number is 15. The average height of two group of boys and girls means the average of this group is 150 centimeter and average on this side is what is this 140 centimeter. Now they are asking us the average height of the class, right? To calculate the average height of the class, what do you need? You need total height of the class divided by number of students. Number of students will be number of boys plus number of girls, right? So first thing, do ignore the average height of the class for now. This is a number given to you, this is the average given to you. To calculate sum of height of all boys, means all boys is equal to average into number. This is what we have seen. So 25 into 150 is the total sum of height of all the boys. On this side, sum of height of all the girls will be 140 into 15. I hope this is clear. Now, the average of the class, you need total height. So total height will be that height of the boys, that is 25 into 150 plus total height of the girls, that is 140 into 15 divided by the number of students, that is number of boys, that is 25 plus number of girls, that is 15. This way you will calculate the average height of the class. I hope this is clear. How have we encountered two different averages and then use both of them to calculate the average height of the class, right? I hope this is clear. We have just used a basic formula of averages, that is sum of all the items divided by the number of items. Moving on, weighted average. Weighted average means, suppose this part, suppose they have given you that in first 5 innings Virat Kohli or some Rohit Sharma has scored, his average was 50 runs. But in next 10 matches, from match number 6 to 15, he has performed better and now the average has increased to what? 70. In next 5 matches, he is not doing very well and his average is now less, is 5. Means 16 to 20th match, his average is now only 5. Now we have been given 3 different averages of 3 different groups of, means 3 different phases of Rohit Sharma batting. Now we have to calculate the overall average of Rohit Sharma's career. So how will you do it? What are you going to do here? You are going to calculate number of runs he has scored in first period, that is 5 matches into average 50, that is 250. Then you are going to calculate the average, the total score he has scored in next 10 matches, that is number of average into matches, that is 700 runs. And the third one, his total runs he will be scoring is average, that is 5 into total number of matches 5, that is 25. So how you calculate the total average? Total runs, that is 250 plus 700 plus 25. So if you calculate this, 975 and divided by the number of total matches. Number of total matches is 20. So this is going to give you an average of the average of the total career of Rohit Sharma. And if you compare with this with the last question as well, boys and girls, then you have to calculate the average of whole class. This is also an example of weighted average, where one average of one group is given to you, a separate average of second group is given to you, then they have asked you to calculate the average of the whole class. And that is how, since the boys and the girls have different weights, means there are 25 boys and 15 girls. So they have given you different weights for different categories. You have to calculate me the total average of the whole class. So now you know you can use this, or you can also use this formula, which is the same. That is, first calculate the scores, total score in first group, plus total score in second group, plus total score in third group, plus total score in fourth group, and so on, divided by number of matches, all the matches. That is n1 plus n2 plus n3 plus n4. So if you are clear how to calculate this, you don't need to remember the formula, but the formula for weighted average is this, right? Moving on, there's a question on weighted averages, and I will leave it for a question to you. You can go and download this PPT from the Telegram channel and solve this question on your own. Very simple question on averages, weighted averages. Means average in first 3 matches is given, average in next 4 matches is given, and average in last 5 matches is given. They've asked you to calculate the average of scores in all the matches. In all means 3 plus 4 plus 5. That is 12 matches, right? So calculate this, and you have to get the answer. Now, this is another question. Average age of the whole school, means all the students in the school is 15. Means average of school is 15. First thing is clear. Average of boys. There is one group of boys. There is another group of girls. Their average of boys is 18. And average of girls is 14. So, right? Now find the ratio of number of boys to number of girls. Suppose the number of boys is 14, number of boys is, let's say, B, and number of girls, suppose that is G, right? So what is the total age of boys? That is average into number, 18B. Total of age of all the girls, that is 14 into G, right? Now average of school is 15. How many total number of students in the school? That is all the boys plus all the girls, that is 15B plus C. So the total of all the boys and the girls in the school is average into number of boys and girls. This total will be equal to this total plus this total. Is it not true? Means the total age summation of the whole school will be equal to summation of age of all the boys plus summation of all the girls. So 15 B plus G is equal to 18B plus 14G, right? So if you calculate this, you will get G is equal to 18 plus 5, 3B. So the ratio between boys and girls will be B by G is equal to I hope it is getting 1 by 3, and that is the answer. I hope it is clear how you calculate this. The average of school is given, average of boys is given, average of girls is given. Then we calculated a total of school, total of boys and total of girls. Then the total of the boy or whole school will be equal to total of boys plus total of girls. And this then we equated, and we got the ratio of number of boys to the number of girls in the school. I hope it is clear. Weighted average question is done. Now let's move to the next topic, and we are going to do speed and distance. Why did I pick speed and distance? Because there is a concept of average speed. To make you understand average speed, we first need to understand what speed is, what distance is, what time is, right? First thing, what exactly is the speed? If you're riding a motorbike or a car, whatever you see in the speedometer, that is the speed. So when someone says my speed is 80 kilometers per hour, that is what is shown in that speedometer, right? And in many modern cars, if you exceed the speed over 80, you get a beep sound. And if you increase that speed over 120, you get a constant beep sound. That is now currently being given as a functionality in all the cars. That means that you have to stick to your speed limit. Means you have to drive it less than 80 km per hour or 120 km per hour. So that is the speed. Distance is, suppose this is Mumbai and this is Delhi. So the road distance between two cities, that is the distance. Suppose there are 1500 kilometers apart, means that is the distance between two cities. Now, if I start from here on my car from Delhi and I take Delhi Mumbai Expressway, And suppose I say I travel from Delhi to Mumbai in only 12 hours. That means that is the time taken by me going from Mumbai to Delhi. Right? Now, if you know three terms: speed, distance, and time. Now, what this is the formula between, or the relation between them. So the formula is speed is equal to whatever you see in the speedometer is that is the distance covered by you divided by time. Now, distance covered by you in this example, suppose I say 1500 kilometers is the distance between Delhi to Mumbai, and I take 12 hours. That is 1500 kilometer divided by 12 hours. So the this thing my speed will be 50, 12 ones are 12, 12 to the 24, 12 fives are 60. So 125 kilometer per hour is the average speed, or the speed I am driving at to go from. So this is the speed I need to maintain to reach Mumbai in 12 hours, covering a distance of 1500 kilometers. I hope it is clear what exactly is speed and how to calculate it. This is a formula you need to remember. Speed is equal to distance divided by the time. Right? Now moving on. The speed just now we have calculated as kilometers per hour. That is 125 kilometers per hour. Why was it so? Because our distance was in kilometers and our time was in hours. Hours mean 12 hours. So that is why we wrote that our speed was 125 kilometer per hour, right? Now by kilometer divided by hour. Now, if someone asks you convert this into meter per second, right? How will you calculate it? First thing, 125 kilometers per hour, 125 kilometer divided by hour. Now, how many 120 in 1 kilometer? How many meters we have? We have 1000 meters divided by hours. How many in hour? How many seconds are there? 3600 seconds. So this will be 5 by 9, right? So 125 into 5 by 9, that will be the meter per second answer. So to convert kilometer per hour into kilometer per hour into, it's not 5 by 9. I hope I think I may be making a mistake here. This is 5 by 18. Yes, 5 by 18. So 5 by 18 is what I have multiplied to convert a kilometer into an hour. Let me check again. This is 1000 by 3600. So 5 by 18. Yes, 5 by 18. To calculate kilometer per hour into meter per second, you need to multiply that speed by 5 by 18. Right? And parallelly, if your speed of in meter per second is given to you and you have to convert it into kilometer per hour, what do you need to do? You need to multiply it by 18 by 5. I hope it is clear. To convert a kilometer per hour into meter per second, you need to multiply it by 5 by 18. And to convert meter per second to kilometer per hour, you need to multiply it by 18 by 5. And that is how you convert speed from kilometer per hour to meter per second or vice versa. I hope this is clear. Moving on. Now the concept comes of average speed. See, average speed. When I told you that 1500 kilometers were covered by me in 12 hours and the speed was 125 kilometer per hour. Is it really possible that I was driving at 125 kilometer per hour throughout? Means each and every second I was traveling at 125 kilometers per hour? No. Why? Because it might be at some places because of speed breaker or toll taxis or whatever. I needed to decrease my speed to suppose 60 kilometers per hour or 30 kilometer per hour. Or at some places it might be possible that I was driving at 150 to 180 kilometer per hour as well. So rather than looking at each instance, means that speedometer will go up and down every second. Rather than looking at that, if you consider the whole distance and total time taken over the whole journey, that is giving us an average speed. Average speed does not mean that that was a speed you were driving at the whole time. You might be going up, you might be going down, but 125 kilometer per hour is the average of the total speed, right? So the formula for average speed is total distance divided by total time. There is no other formula for average speed other than this. Never try to calculate total time. Suppose Someone says you for the first half I was for this much distance I was traveling at this speed, suppose 36 kilometer per hour, and the next part is next part I was covering for say 20 kilometer per hour. Many people do a mistake. They understand averages as a plus b by 2. This is a common mistake. So many a times they will do this mistake, 36 plus 20 by 2, and they will get to an answer. That is totally wrong way. The only way to calculate the average speed is calculate the total distance for the journey divided by the total time taken by him, and that is all. This is the single most formula for average speed and nothing else, right? Why? You will see in the next question that how to use this part and not go by this key. If four speeds are given to you, you do the sum and divide it by the number of items. Suppose for the first half I was going at 10 to then 20 then 30 and 40. If you understand average, you cannot simply like 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 by 4. No. The only way to calculate average speed is total distance covered by the person divided by total time, right? How? We'll see. Now let's see this question. Car is traveling along a square. His speed was 20 kph on one edge, 40 on other edge, 60 here, and 80 kilometer per hour on this edge, right? Now find the average speed. Don't do this mistake that if average is, I've already told you that 20 plus 40 plus 80 plus 60 divided by 4. No, you cannot calculate the average speed in this way. The only way to calculate the average speed is using the formula total distance divided by total time. How? Let's see. So I suppose that this is a square, so all the lengths will be same. So d d d d. First thing is clear. Now, total distance covered by the car is d plus d plus d plus d. That is what? 4d, right? Now, time taken by the car. Time taken in first phase. This is first phase. The time taken will be distance upon speed. The formula for speed is distance upon time. So time taken is distance upon speed. So using that formula, in the first leg, time taken by means distance, that is d, divided by speed, that is 20. Second phase, distance by d divided by 40. Third phase, distance d divided by 60. Fourth phase, distance d divided by 80. I hope the total time calculated. Now the average speed is total distance, that is 4d, divided by total time, that is d by 20 plus d by 40 plus d by 60 plus d by 80. Now you can solve this. If you this d will cancel out because taking d common in the denominator and solving the remaining portion, you will get the average speed. Please calculate this on your own, and this is the way and the only way to calculate the average speed. I cannot emphasize more. Don't do this mistake that sum of all the speed divided by the what number of items, right? I hope average speed is clear. Moving on, relative speed. See, whenever you are going on a road, suppose you are sitting in a train. Suppose you are sitting in this train and another train is passing you, right? If you both go at the same speed, the person sitting here will keep looking at this person. They both will keep looking at each other, right? Now suppose this train is faster, right? So this will take some time, but eventually it will overtake this train, slower train, right? Or the other in other sense, I can say that in if this is train A and train B is coming from behind, but it is going at a faster speed, it will slowly but eventually it will cross the slower train, right? Now suppose on the other scenario is, suppose you're sitting in a train A going in this direction and train B is coming from the other side. I'm pretty sure you have realized it while sitting in the car, train or something, that if something is coming from the opposite side, it looks like it is going really fast. But if it is going in the same direction as us, we both almost looks like we are almost sitting next to each other, right? It slowly passes us. But when it is coming from the opposite side, it looks like it is going at such a high speed, right? Why so? In this scenario, we need to understand the concept of relative speed. Relative speed means, see, suppose in case number 1, when both the trains are going in the same direction, since we are going in that direction, we are also covering some distance. B is also going in that direction, it is also covering some distance. So whatever B is covering, A is also almost covering the same distance or a little less than that, right? That is why it looks like the faster train is going, but it is not going as fast. Why? Because we are also covering the distance on that side. B is also covering the same distance on that side. Why? Let's see. Suppose in 5 minutes, this train has covered 20 kilometers. But since we are going at almost the same speed, would have covered 18 kilometers in this direction, right? So that is why B will not look as fast to us as it would be. So the speed of the train B will be something like it. So the relative velocity of train B with respect to us will be its own speed minus our speed, minus the speed of the slower train. Why? Because whatever B is gaining, it is being compensated by our train. But suppose, and the other example is, suppose two trains are coming towards each other, B. Now they have distance of, suppose, 15 kilometers between them. But B is going at a speed of, suppose, say it covers 10 kilometers. Also, we are helping it by covering 5 kilometers coming from the other side. So that is why it will look like we have covered the distance. Means B is coming towards us and we are helping the train B by going towards it. So the speed of B will look even more than what it is actually traveling at. So the relative velocity of B will, with respect to us, velocity of B with respect to train A will be velocity of B plus velocity of A. Why? Because we are helping the train A. Means by going towards that train, we are helping them. So I'm not going into the deep. So just understand. I hope the brief introduction was sufficient for you to understand why the minus sign and plus sign are there. But if it is not clear or any doubt, then just remember, if they are going towards same direction, then there is sign is of minus. Why? Because we are not helping the train B. It is covering some distance, but we are also covering some distance in the same direction. But if we are coming from the opposite direction, we are helping the train B. B is coming towards us, but we are also helping them by going towards them. So the sign between A and B will be plus here, right? So relative velocity is done. Now let's understand using a question. Two cars are traveling in the same direction. Means two cars are traveling. This is car A and car B, right? Now A is going at speed of 30 km per hour and B is going at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour. Now at the start they started from the same point, right? Now first thing, A will cover some distance, B will cover some distance. So we need to calculate when the gap between these two cars will be 100 kilometers. Means A will be at this point, B will be at this point. Why? Because A is slower than B. So ultimately B will overtake A and then goes at such distance that the distance between two cars will be 100 kilometers. Now, in relative speed question, how will you use the concept of relative velocity? We assume that it is at rest. When rest means it is stopped. If A is stopped, then B will be going at the speed of relative velocity, relative speed. So relative velocity concept you just learned in the last slide. So if they are going in the same direction, the relative speed of B with respect to A will be 70 minus 30, that is 40 km per hour. This is 40 km per hour means this is assuming that A is exactly not moving at all, but B is moving at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. So the relative speed of B will be 40 kilometers per hour. The distance between them, that is what is required, is 100 kilometers. So the time taken for this to happen is distance upon speed, that is 100 by 40, that is 2.5 hours. Means it will take 2.5 hours for the distance between them to be 100 kilometers. I hope it is clear. Now this question, two cars are coming towards each other. This is car A, this is car B. A is going at a speed of 30, B is going at a speed of 70. There is a distance between of 100 kilometer between them. When they are going to meet, then the time for them to meet, what are we going to do? We are going to assume that A is at rest. If A is at rest or stop, B will be going at a speed of relative speed, and the relative speed formula when they are going towards each other or when they are going in the opposite direction is sum 70 plus 30. So this is 100 kilometer per hour. So the relative speed is 100 kph. Distance between them is 100 kilometers. So time taken for them is distance upon speed. This is 100 by 100, that is 1 hour. So 1 hour is the time taken by them to meet each other. I hope it is clear, relative velocity concept. Now, we are going to use this concept in boats and stream question. How? Let's see. Now, speed of a boat. Suppose this is a boat. It has a motor in it. That motor propels the boat in the water, right? This is a motor which is at the in the back of the boat, right? So this is a boat. So boat will have some speed. Why? Because of the motor, right? So that speed is the speed of boat. This is a term you need to know, that speed of the boat in still water means water is not helping it or not pushing it. It is just, suppose the water is at rest. Water is not moving at all, right? So the boat will be going on in itself. So the speed of the boat in still water means in resting water. The other is speed of the river. Speed of the river is whatever the speed of the river which is flowing under it. Now, why the speed of the river we are considering? Whenever we go downstream, suppose river is going in this direction, and boat is using its motor, is also going in this direction. I am pretty sure you must have seen this. If we go in the direction of the boat or the river helps us. So during downstream, our speed, relative speed of the boat will be what? Relative speed of the boat in downstream. Downstream means going in the direction of the river is speed of the boat, velocity of the boat plus speed of the river, velocity of the river. This is a downstream case. In upstream, upstream means this is the direction of the river, but the boat is going in opposite direction. Whenever we go in against the direction of the river, the speed of the boat decreases. I hope you have seen this. So the relative velocity of the boat will be speed of the boat in still water minus velocity of the river. These two things you need to remember. Whenever there is a downstream, you are going in the direction of the river, then the river helps you and your speed increases. Whenever you go in the opposite direction of the river, your speed decreases, or the river does not help you, it goes against you. You just have to remember these two things. Let's solve some questions. A boat can go downstream at the 12 km per hour speed. So the speed of the boat in downstream, what is the relatively speed of the boat? Boat plus river helps it. So the speed of the boat plus boat becomes 12 km per hour. But in upstream, the boat is not being helped by the river, so its speed decreases. VB minus VR, and that is 8. You can solve for VB, that is the velocity of boat in the still water, and R, that is the velocity of the stream or the river. You can calculate on your own. I hope it is clear. Very basic question on downstream and upstream, but you need to know when to add and when to subtract. Moving on to this question, a boat whose speed is 20 kilometers per hour. Velocity of boat is 20 kilometers per hour in still water, means not going upstream or downstream, just on its own it will go. Goes 40 kilometers downstream and come back. Suppose this is the downstream, so this is a river going in this direction. First the boat will go from here to the downstream, then it comes back into the upstream, means it goes with that flow and come back against the flow, right? and this total distance, the time taken is 5 hours. 5 hours total time of going down the river plus coming up. Now, let's suppose what is the average speed of the stream. They want to know the speed of the river. Let's say what is that downstream? What is the speed of the boat? That is VB plus VR. VB plus VR. Now, then what do we need to know? The distance covered by the boat. 40 kilometers. So 40 kilometers, one side is the distance covered by them. So time taken in downstream will be distance upon speed, that is VB plus VR. First time is done. Now while coming back in upstream, the speed of the boat will be VB minus VR. Distance covered is the same, 40 kilometers it went down, 40 kilometers is coming back. Time taken by in while upstream is 40 upon VB minus VR, right? Now I'm just removing this diagram, and the final step, time taken in downstream plus time taken in upstream is 5 hours total. Time taken in downstream is 40 upon VB. VB is given to us, that is 20 plus VR plus 40 upon 20 minus VR is equal to 5. You can calculate the value of VR from here, and that is the answer. The speed of the river what they have asked for. I hope it is clear how to calculate the speed of the river. This is how we are going to use the concept of relative velocity in the boats and the stream, right? I hope this is clear. That completes our speed as well. In speed, again a quick revision. In speed, what we have learned is the concept of, we started with speed and distance, the basics of how to convert from kilometer per hour to meter per second. Then we understood the concept of average speed. Average speed is not what is shown in the speedometer, but it is the total distance divided by the total time. Don't make a mistake of doing the average, that sum of all the speeds divided by the number of items. No, this is the way. This is a question on it, and I would say this is a pretty good question for you to grasp that what is the formula for average speed. Then we understood the concept of relative speed. Relative speed, whenever two things are going in the same direction, we do a minus sign, and when they're coming towards each other, the speed of one is increases, right? Here we have an example where we have understood using this key, they are going in the same direction or the opposite direction. Then we understood the boats and stream, and here we have used the concept of speed of river and boats. And whenever we are going in the downstream, means the river is going in this direction, we are also going in this direction. So by being on the river actually helps us, so our speed increases. But when we go against the direction of the flow of the river, sorry for that, our speed decreases. So we do VB minus VR. And finally we did some few questions on this, and that completes our this thing. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll meet in the next. Thank you and best of luck.